The availability of the PlayStation 5 and scalpers getting their hands on it has been a big talking point going into this holiday season, and I still imagine that it's going to be a big deal about secondhand sellers getting their hands on the PlayStation 5, reselling them on eBay for a significant profit. However, PlayStation 5 pre-orders may be limited to 1 unit per customer on the PlayStation Direct store, and hopefully this does bleed on over to just about every other platform. We'll look at that. Speaking of PlayStation 5, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales has a 4K resolution, 60 frames per second performance mode, so that's rather interesting, and Splinter Cell is coming back for sure, says Sam Fisher's Italian dubber. We'll talk that at the end of this video because I've been dying for more Splinter Cell. But first of all, PlayStation 5 pre-orders may be limited to 1 unit per customer, at least on the PlayStation Direct store. Earlier today, Reddit user Kagarvi, I'm sorry if I butchered your name, discovered a couple of interesting things by checking out the PlayStation Direct website source code. The source code features an error message that will prevent a single customer from ordering more than a PlayStation 5 unit, regardless of the console's edition, specifically noting you can only purchase one version of the PS5 console, disc or digital. You have already added one PS5 console to your cart. So they're not even limiting it from the standpoint of you can get one of each, and let's say you want a disc and a digital, you get one disc and one digital version. No, they're just outright limiting you to get one version of the console, and that being disc or digital, which I think is great. Look, if you want to get the console for your buddy, tell your buddy to buy the console and then you'll pay them. I don't know, do whatever you need, but they need to limit how many consoles people are going to be ordering online, because if they don't limit it, there's going to be people that are buying 10 to 15 consoles, and yes, that does sound like a little bit of a stretch, but is it really a stretch given that chances are the console is going to be sold at an exponentially higher rate over on eBay? I don't think that's a crazy thing to think about, and I do see the PlayStation 5, even with its increased production supply of 10 million units, or at least that's what reports are suggesting, I still don't think that's going to be enough. I think they're going to need 20 to 25 million units to really satiate the demand. I think that's how big the demand is, and if you just look at metrics like YouTube views, social media numbers, Instagram likes, which it's not always the perfect barometer to suggest how successful a platform or a game is going to be. However, it's something to look at, and the fact of the matter is the PlayStation 5 is literally blowing out all other metrics that we've seen in the past as far as social media is concerned, that I am inclined to believe that this is going to be an incredibly successful console, especially if you're talking about launching it with a Spider-Man game, with a Demon's Souls remake, and like another game. That's a pretty stacked launch lineup. Spider-Man alone is a significant release. Demon's Souls remake is huge. If you throw in Ratchet somehow for a launch, and if you throw in something like Housemarque's PlayStation 5 new IP, well, that's going to be a pretty significant launch lineup, and that's much better than what the PlayStation 4 had, and the PlayStation 4 was pretty much sold out everywhere, and I'm inclined to believe that the PlayStation 5 is going to be a lot more successful than that. So limiting it to one pre-order or one sale per customer, I think, is the best route to go, although people are probably going to do the thing where they go to PlayStation Direct, then they go to Best Buy, then they go to Target, then they go to Walmart, GameStop, you name it, they'll go there, they'll get their consoles, and then they'll be off running to eBay to resell them. So when PlayStation 5 pre-orders do go live, I've been saying it over and over again, but keep your eyes open, get on there ASAP, and put your pre-order in, because it is going to be a hot ticket item. Alright, moving on from that, one reason it's going to be a hot ticket item is the release of Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Now, yes, it is going to be more of a standalone expansion akin to that of Uncharted The Lost Legacy. Uncharted The Lost Legacy was around 7 to 10 hours long, so if Spider-Man Miles Morales is around that length, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world, especially if it is priced accordingly. If it's $70 or $60, I think that's a little bit pricey, but hey, if it's $40, maybe $50, if it is a little bit more robust than Lost Legacy, I don't think that's the worst idea in the world. And Spider-Man Miles Morales is noted to have a 4K resolution, 60 frames per second performance mode. Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales will have an optional 4K resolution and 60 frames per second performance mode, developer Insomniac Games confirmed on Twitter. It would be interesting to note, what does this actually mean? What are you foregoing to get 4K 60 FPS? Are you foregoing some graphical fidelity? That's what I imagine it is, and that's something interesting to note. This idea that the PlayStation 5 is going to be able to run every game at 4K 60 FPS, God forbid, 8K and even 30 FPS, that was always a pipe dream. That was never going to happen. 4K 60 FPS is incredibly demanding, and I imagine that some games are going to be able to do it, but concessions will have to be made, and Miles Morales is probably not going to be the game that puts the PlayStation 5 to its technical knees. There's going to be other games that are going to be technically accentuating the PlayStation 5, and I'm looking at games like Horizon Forbidden West, the definitely coming God of War 2. Those are games that are really going to take the PlayStation 5 to the limit. Miles Morales, while it's going to be a beautiful game, it's not that kind of game that I'm looking at it while it's being that, you know, the PlayStation 5 technical system seller. I really don't think it's going to be that. I think Demon's Souls Remake has a chance to be an even bigger, you know, gargantuan of a system-hungry game than even Spider-Man Miles Morales, because I imagine that this still has the fundamental data of a Marvel Spider-Man that was released on the PlayStation 4. Are upgrades going to be made? Absolutely. That's why a 4K 60 FPS mode is even in here, but I don't think it's going to be the one to raise the ceiling of the PlayStation 5. Alright, lastly, I do want to note Splinter Cell is coming back for sure, says Sam Fisher's Italian dubber. The lack of a new Splinter Cell game throughout the entire PS4 and Xbox One generation has led fans of Sam Fisher and his stealth adventures to be ravenous about any leak or rumor regarding a possible comeback. We did get Splinter Cell Blacklist right before the launch of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I was a big fan of that game. I really enjoyed my time with it, but also the idea of a new Splinter Cell game definitely gets me excited, and fans will be happy to learn that speaking to Italian website multiplayer.it, as part of the Ultra Pop Festival, historic Sam Fisher dubber Luca Ward has pretty much confirmed that a new Splinter Cell installment is indeed in the works. Noting there's this Splinter Cell comeback that should take place for a final adventure, though I'm not sure about this part, and they haven't figured out if it's going to be in 2021. It was supposed to be in 2020, then the pandemic happened and several big projects got stuck in 2020 while others moved forward, such as Cyberpunk 2077, which I'm almost done working on. Anyway, I'm sure Splinter Cell is returning, that's a fact. So that's very exciting information, given that Splinter Cell, whether or not you've been completely on board with the recent releases, whether or not you've been a fan of Conviction or Blacklist, it's still one of the more iconic franchises in all of gaming, and one that a lot of people want to see make a comeback, and a new Splinter Cell game on PlayStation 5 and next-gen platforms would be incredibly exciting. And hell, this is one franchise that could definitely use a remaster. Blacklist is a game a lot of people missed out on. Why not give people the opportunity to play that, or Conviction? Those were pretty solid games in my opinion. I think people would be willing to spend a decent amount of money on a collection. But that's going to conclude this video. Again, PlayStation 5 pre-orders may be limited to 1 unit per customer on the direct store. Hopefully that bleeds into just every other retail store. Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales has a 4K 60 FPS mode, and Splinter Cell is coming back for sure, says Sam Fisher, Italian dubber. That's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.